Fucking Jojo. It's like, I'm so glad you introduced me to it, because, like, I don't watch a lot of things, and I used to watch a fair amount of anime, but I don't anymore because I prefer doing things like playing video games or drawing or things like that. I prefer to be active. It's just my personal preference, but,
Well, the other trouble is so much of anime is the same these days, because it fell into, like, really heavy trope territory.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably one reason I stopped. But yeah, anyway, I'm so glad you showed me JoJo, just because it's fucking incredible. And it has a legacy to it too. Like, that helps a lot.
It did the thing that so many animes can't do, and it did the generation gap.
Mm-hmm.
Where let's have a new generation of characters.
Yeah.
And it's done it 8 goddamn times.
And it's done it well every time. Or at least every time I've seen.
Another one has this girl looking at a guy, and he's naked, and she's like, why does he have 4 balls?
I actually know the context for that one.
Or a guy picks up a rock, and it turns into a snake and bites him.
Yeah.
And then there's the main character, it's like, you fell into my trap.
There's also one from the first season. Jonathan is lifting up this little rock. It's like, it fits in his hand, just fits in his palm, and it says, "I can even lift this heavy rock." And I think that one's pretty famous too.
Yeah. Well, I think the one that really gets people from the part 1 is the punching the frog sequence.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like, and the frog is fine.
Yes. Oh man.
The thing that really gets a lot of people with that one is this is like when stuff starts to get kind of weird.
Uh-huh.
Because this is always how I describe JoJo. To people who don't know JoJo and hear JoJo and think, should I check out JoJo? JoJo is a franchise that starts off as Sherlock Holmes as described by an insane Japanese person.
Yeah.
And then one of the characters turns into a vampire and the other one learns solar-powered kung fu.
Yeah.
And then it starts to get weird.
Yeah. And the first one isn't even all that strange, all things considered.
No, the first one with solar-powered kung fu and vampires is the normal one.
Yeah, well, I mean, they bring Jack the Ripper back as a zombie.
Yeah, like zombie
a sentient zombie.
Yeah, sentient Jack the Ripper zombie is the most normal thing in the world in that franchise.
Yep.
Like, the fact that 2 heroes named Dyer and Straits show up.
Yeah. Oh my god. Again, fairly normal.
Yeah, this is the normal stuff. It's not like part 7 where it's, hey, let's just do part 1 again, but instead of English aristocrats, everyone's a gay cowboy.
Pretty much.
I mean a really gay-looking cowboy. And they're all doing this transatlantic race, which is all just this elaborate cover to find the 2,000-year-old mummified remains of a saint. Except the Vatican said that no saints existed 2,000 years ago. So whose body are they collecting? Spoilers. It's Jesus. And why are they collecting Jesus Christ's mummified remains across the North American continent? Because it gives them 6 superpowers. Why else would they be doing this?
I mean, it makes perfect sense, right?
And they need to do this because if they don't, the President of the United States will get this power. But don't worry.
We don't want that to happen.
But don't worry. Everything he does for America.
Oh, man. That fucking series is so beautiful.
Oh my god, part 7. Steel Ball Run. I almost quit after part 6 because part 6 has one of the shittiest endings in anything ever. Spoilers. But part 7, good lord. I hope and pray that part 7 gets animated.
Yeah.
Because that's when shit gets really weird.
Yeah.
Like, the main character's power is he can fire his fingernails like bullets.
Yeah.
And the shit he does with that. I think this is why I find Aquaman to be one of the most interesting DC characters in theory. because he has such a very specific set of powers.
Yeah.
Like, I
You
want
have
to
to
see
be clever
Aquaman.
to use him properly.
Yeah, like Batman. It's like some people say Batman is the more clever one because he just has his gadgets. But then it's just, oh, he's just going to use his anti-bat whatever spray and then punch it.
Yep.
That's the extent of the Batman fights. Superman fights even less so, because Superman's just like, do they have kryptonite? No? Okay, I'm just going to punch it.
Yep.
Oh, are they
much.
really tough? Well, then I'm just going to punch them really hard.
Yeah, Superman shouldn't even be about the fights. Like,
No.
the fights should be just a backdrop. Or
Yeah.
something that happens as a result of everything else in the comics with Superman.
Well, it goes back to the phrase I used before of trappings.
Yeah. Oh god. I think, yep. I'm pretty sure this is a glitch. Yeah, I'm glad
Yep.
you kept this in.
Yeah, I kept the glitch in.
We were so fucking confused.
Yeah.
Because that should have ended the level, but I
Yeah.
think the fact that I skipped a platform made this happen.
Yeah. It counted. It counted as you ending the level. We didn't
Yeah.
know it at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure you kill yourself here and you have to go all the way back. I don't remember if I left that in or not, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was just this weird. But yeah, with trappings, there are things that make a character interesting, and it's very rarely what the fans think is the interesting part of the character.
Yeah. Well, it's not usually the, like, action.
Yeah, like the action is the icing on the cake.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can have action in anything.
Yeah.
And if you have interesting, good action, it's usually because the action is particularly strange.
Yeah.
Like, really gimmicky characters or doing really cool things with limited material.
Exactly, yeah.
Think, like, the fight scenes in The Raid or the hallway fight scene in Oldboy, where it's like, okay, you're not... There's no, like, superpowers, there's no really weird stuff going on, but you have just this really visceral stuff with things everyone has. So it's taking what anyone can do and taking it to a crazy extreme.
Right.
On the flip side, you have characters that do stuff that no one else does. Like the really gimmick characters, like a lot of JoJo fights.
Yes. Almost every JoJo fight from part 3 on is extremely gimmicky.
Yeah. Like part 4 is probably the gimmickiest of the gimmick characters.
Uh-huh.
Part 7 gets kind of gimmicky, but then they start making fun of the gimmicks.
Okay.
Like there's one character who has this like really convoluted power involving all these grids and all this other stuff, and it's like if you do this, this happens. And it's like most of the chapter is just explaining how his powers work.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like 2 panels till he loses. And the character he's fighting is just like, yeah, I just used my power to kind of distort the air and you didn't notice. So it's really clear that you've been using this gimmick for so long, you have no idea how to actually fight with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, shut up and go away.
That's pretty beautiful.
It's beautiful. I love fights like that. I love fights that are just like, here's the gimmick. Oh, the gimmick didn't work.
Mm-hmm. You don't see that very often because you put so much thought into the gimmick that you want to use it as your baby and make it cool.
Well, you know what the thought process of that is?
Huh.
They came up with the gimmick, and then halfway through doing it, they realized, oh, wait, you can just do this, and it's useless.
Yeah.
And then
so they
with
made
it.
that happen.
Because stop and think about how many fights, especially in like action movies or science fiction and stuff, where it's like, well, why don't they just do this?
Yeah.
I love the series that acknowledge that.
Yes. Yeah, that's one thing that always bugs me is I see an obvious flaw in tactics and whatever, and just, I don't know, it throws me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Not like it kills anything, but just takes me out for a little second. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
these guys are supposedly better warriors than I am. They should know this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about how many video games where your character starts as like no training, and then they start defeating people way above their skill level for no obvious reason.
Makes no sense.
Like, I think my favorite version of that trope is, oh, it's because they have this MacGuffin that everyone's after, and that MacGuffin gives them such an edge. And then they actually fight somebody who's a competent fighter, and they point out just how flawed their tactics are.
Yeah.
And it's like, you would be dead 20 times over if you didn't have this thing. I think Gundam did that so much, and that's one of the things I love about the original Gundam. Like, especially when they get to the Ramba Ral fight, where Ramba Ral has a mech that's not as good as the Gundam, but it's enough that his skill makes up the difference.
Oh, okay.
And the Gundam never beats that mech.
Yeah.
And Ramba Ral is just like, oh, you're a bunch of shit kids. Cool, you have no idea how to deal with guerrilla tactics. So, yeah.
I'm gonna do that now.
Yeah. This is gonna suck for you kids. I'm gonna give you this ultimatum. You better surrender or shit's gonna get raw. Because I kind of feel sorry about you, but we're at war, and you can't pussyfoot around with war.
Yep. Yeah, one thing that, like, always bothers me in RPGs is, and they do this a lot, where you get your ass handed to you by some enemy or another, like the final boss typically, but sometimes other ones, usually the dragon character or something. Not like an actual dragon, but the trope, the dragon, where it's like the big guy who's,
the right
look it up on TV tropes. Yeah, the right-hand man, pretty much. So you get your ass handed to you by that character, and some games do it right after that, and some games do it horribly, horribly wrong. And the way they do it horribly wrong is you re-encounter that character later, and then you beat him. There's no reason given why you're better now. Like, some games, you have to go collect a thing and it makes you better, and that's fine, that's a decent reason. Some games you actually, like, do intensive training, or you learn some sort of incredible skill or something like that, and that's a better way to do it. But some games don't give any explanation at all, and it just bothers the fuck out of me. It's like, okay, why can you beat him now but you couldn't before? Yeah. This makes no sense. Like, as much as I love Legend of Dragoon, I think they do that, if I remember correctly. Like, there's this guy who beats you several times throughout the course of the game, and then you just somehow beat him later. And there's really no reason given why. You don't gain anything new, no new powers, no new insight into how he works or anything like that. It's just, you beat him when the story says you can beat him.
Yeah.
Nothing happens to him either. Like, nothing happens that makes him beatable.
Well, I think when you get down to it, anything that's because the story said it's time to do that is bad.
Yeah, it is.
Like, because the plot demanded it. And yeah, the writing is hard, especially for video games, because video game writing is usually brought in towards the end.
Yeah, well, and it's often done by multiple people too.
Yeah.
About that other 1%.
But at the same time, it's like, I said it so many times during the Dust playthrough, like, sometimes you need rewrites, sometimes you need to go back to it, and sometimes you don't have time for it.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's something to talk about, though. I had a couple people approach me and tell me about the production story behind Dust. Shit sucked for that guy.
Yeah.
I have a lot more respect for him. It doesn't not change my opinion of the game, because the end product is the end product, and even with all the troubles and trials and tribulations, the end result is the end result.
Yeah, well, and some of the things that we complained about, well, you complained about mostly, but like, I agreed with you. Some of the things in there aren't really explained by the whole production hell thing he went through. Like, Gaius, I don't think was explained by
Actually,
that.
he was.
Well, they had something and they scrapped it because they thought it was garbage, and then they went with Gaius instead.
Well, there was supposed to be something after Gaius, and Gaius was supposed to be like the mid-tier thing.
Yeah, but then they scrapped the thing after him because they didn't like it.
I heard it was because they ran out of time, but if it's because they didn't like it, that would change things dramatically.
Well, that's what I read anyway in the article that the person sent to me.
Yeah.
I don't remember who sent it.
It was Sephra.
Oh, Sephra? Okay, that makes sense.
Unless somebody different approached you and sent it to you, but I can't imagine Sephra sending me something and not sending you it.
Yeah. We should probably, like, shout out his channel, because he doesn't have quite as much of an audience as we do, which is hard to say because, like, we don't have much of an audience either.
Yeah.
But I think he's got, I don't remember the name of his channel. It's like Rava Cunning or something like that.
We'll put a linky thing and go go say hi to our friend Sephra.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
He is a cool guy.
We might have him on the show.
It's possible.
If we ever decide to do anything klonoa, so we can make fun of him for reasons.
I'm sure he will, at this point, if he's listening, say, "Bwah!"
But you know, he actually, when I was talking, I mentioned the klonoa recording to him, and he started pestering me about it and wouldn't let it go.
Oh, really?
And it's like, I'm not fixing this audio. He's like, I don't care, I want to see it. And I'm like, fine, here.
That's
taking up
funny.
like a third of my fucking Google Drive, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's for your eyes only. We're never doing anything with it. We were so fucking tired.
Yep.
And it basically boiled down to, this is nice.
This is really
nice.
cute. I like this game.
Yeah.
Yep. We should probably do klonoa again at some point. And yeah, let's bring him on. Just probably that'll be a Skype thing too.
Yeah, it'll be a Skype thing. We'll do... You know what? This is the thing. People listening to this, even if you don't usually comment on our stuff, please tell us, is this post-com thing working? Do you like how this works? Because if this works, I'll play a game, record it, and then we'll do post-com stuff.
Yeah.
We'll still occasionally do live com stuff, but Humbug lives a good distance away, so it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and obviously we're not going to be doing live com unless we are with klonoa if we bring on Sephra, because Sephra lives on the opposite end of the country.
Yeah. Sephra's a good distance away.
Yeah.
And I doubt he will like take extra time off if we're going to like a convention to come and hang out with us before the convention.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, Sephra doesn't live on the opposite end of the country. Whatever. He's still really far away.
Yeah. He's a good couple of states over. I think he's still in the
Midwest or West, something like
Midwesty,
that.
and we're both East Coast. Yeah, we were thinking. I know who you were thinking of.
Yeah, well, I was thinking of a couple of different people actually. Damien and Forest Wolf.
Yeah, we have a couple of friends out there all the way on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Because to those few of you watching who aren't furries, we are a scattered community, because, surprise, we don't have huge pockets of us like anime nerds. It's not like at a college where you can like go into a room and find 50 of them hanging out.
Yeah.
Or like the golden age of the anime nerds, where you could go to a Borders and find like a base camp of them in the manga section.
Yeah. About the only time that we ever get together in large groups is at cons, and that's because that's about the only time we can visit all our friends.
Yeah. Well, that's like this is the weird thing about conventions. Like, a lot of people who do, like, anime and science fiction conventions and other kind of conventions always look to me at furry conventions like, what the fuck do you even do there? And it's like, we hang out with friends.
That's really it.
That's about it.
That is it.
There are panels, sure, but they're all fan-run panels.
And a lot of them are garbage.
Yeah, no offense to people running panels, but
yeah,
like there's not too much you can do with the community. Like there's some workshops like, hey, here's some writing workshops from people who actually have like some experience in published writing or a good degree in writing, and those are like those kind of workshops, if they're run by the right person, worth going to.
Yep.
Then you have like...
But you can never tell if they're run by the right person or not.
No,
like, that's always a crapshoot.
Yeah, but that's true of any kind of panel.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
except the ones that happen year after year and you know they're going to be good.
Yeah. Like, you and I have gone to, like, species appreciation panels. And mocked them relentlessly.
Yes. Not while we were there. Just afterward. Oh, okay.
I did, because I'm that kind of dick.
Yeah.
And, like, marine appreciation, it's like, if you're appreciating dolphins and you do not acknowledge the horrible things about dolphins, I will happily point out the horrible truth of dolphins.
Yes.
It's like, they're so friendly. Yeah, because they want to rape you.
They're always smiling. It's because they
know they can get away with it.
Yeah.
But
and I went to a rodent panel, and it almost immediately devolved to, well, these movies have rats and mice in them. It had nothing to do with like why we were rodents, like why we identified with that kind of shit. It was all just, let's name a bunch of famous rodent characters. It's like, okay, thanks.
That's because in these a lot of the furry conventions, it's about who you know.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, who's the best person that can do a panel? It's either somebody with a big head about it, thinks they can do it and can't.
Yeah.
Or they have a friend who's on staff and it's like, hey, we need to fill time. What can you do? This, I guess.
Yeah,
okay, do
much.
it. But I've been to a bunch of like fan-run panels and anime conventions.
Uh-huh.
That were equally as terrible.
Oh, that's not too surprising.
Like, I've been to like, I went to a Silent Hill one, and Silent Hill is one of those franchises that you can pick apart and you can spend hours and hours and hours talking about.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And they had none of that prepared. And the best part of the panel was it got crashed by a Harry Mason cosplayer asking about his wife. Like, he crashed the panel. He's like, excuse me, I'm sorry. I know you guys are busy, but I just have an important question. Have any of you seen this woman? And he pulls out a photo, because the whole part of his is he's looking for his wife.
Uh-huh.
And then I never remember the main character from part one, from Silent Hill 1. There was a cosplayer of that at the panel, and he gets up and he's like, I don't know anything about that, but have you seen my daughter? She's this little girl, she's about, yeah. And they started playing off each other, and it was beautiful.
Oh my god. They just made it so much more entertaining.
Yeah, because they just got in character and were kind of dicking around.
Yeah.
And the guy running the panel was getting so butthurt because it was interrupting his shitty discussion, and no one cared.
That's great.
Like, if cosplayers can crash your whatever, and everyone is so much more interested in whatever they're doing, you're running a shitty panel. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite shitty panels I went to was one called Oh God Hentai. And it just like, it was described as looking at some of the weirdest shit in hentai.
Uh-huh.
And I went with a friend, and I'm like, this is gonna be so amazing. We're gonna see the most fucked up weird shit.
Yeah.
And it's like the worst they pulled out is Bible Black. And it's like, really? That's like fucked up hentai 101. Everyone knows about Bible Black. I thought you were gonna get into the weird shit. I hang out with furries. This is nothing to me.
Yeah.
It's like, the day you saw shitting dick nipples was the most fucked up day on the internet for you. For Mage, it was Tuesday.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's like, come on,
One thing
step up
I'm sad that I haven't gone to yet, but I've heard about, are the adult art auctions in furry conventions. Because a lot of it is just really uncomfortable, awkward people just kind of bidding on really creepy shit.
Yeah.
And it sounds kind of amazing. Like, I would only ever do it once, but I think it would be a brilliant experience. Just going there and watching these people wringing their hands and kind of sweating a little bit. Just raising their hand meekly when the auction happens. I don't know if it actually works that way. It's just the way I picture it.
Do I want everyone to know this gives me a boner?
Yeah, pretty much. When really you should be totally all about it, because like one of the coolest things about being a furry is that oh my god, I love this. Anyway, one of the best things about being a furry is that like the community is so fucking accepting. But I guess everybody's still like, yeah,
it's more accepting than most.
Yeah.
This is something I brought up in my... I would reference the fact I was a furry constantly in my nonfiction writing class when I was in college.
Yeah.
Because it's something you can... there's a lot of stuff to draw out of that.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things I would always bring up is furries... One of the things that freaks so many people out about furries is that, yeah, a lot of furries wear their fetish on their sleeves.
Yes.
And something that would be like your most secret of shame is how a bunch of people make friends in our community.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how we how we became friends.
Yeah.
Was this weird, stupid shared fetish.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and it required a lot of thought on my process because I was going to be writing on it. So when you write about something, you generally need to know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
Or at least have a good idea.
Yeah.
And the conclusion I eventually came to is it's more the fact that it's on the internet than anything else.
Yeah.
Like, if you meet furries in person and the only thing you know about them is that they're a furry, then chances are it's going to be like any other friendship where you meet them because, hey, we're into this same thing and we're in the same area.
Right.
But when you're in the online community, since the closest thing to social media we have is Fur Affinity, which is also our art site.
Yes.
Which is very accepting of adult-oriented stuff.
Yeah.
You'll suddenly have people hanging out in the same circles because they share the same very specific interest.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, hey, you're actually a cool guy to talk to. You don't just draw weird pictures that gives me happy feelings in my naughty place.
Right.
And then you have friendships that last for years, even lifetimes.
Yeah, and then you make weird Let's Play channels and discuss the weird community that you both met in.
The horrible thing is my dad knows about this channel and he tells all his friends about it.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm serious. I'm always like, you probably no,
Yeah.
don't. But he's this incorrigible type that gets so excited about things.
And then
with
he
only
just
halfway
has to
knowing
say,
about 'em.
"Oh my god, that's amazing."
Dad, I love you, but you shouldn't be sharing this with all of your friends.
Hey, more views, whatever.
It's whatever for me, but it's like, you know your son's talking about weird animal dicks.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I tried to warn him, but I can't.
Yep.
Oh well. He'll maybe learn one day.
Well, it doesn't matter because the damage is kind of already done.
The fact, I'm kind of glad he's showing it off now when the audio was terrible. Because then people will look at it as like, it's this shitty Let's Play. Why are you proud of this?
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because he doesn't understand like what level we're working on right now.
Mm-hmm.
So he thinks it's this big deal. It's like we're one of a million Let's Play channels that is just getting off the ground.
We get an average of like 30 views a video.
That is literally nothing.
Yeah.
One day,
and those 30
hopefully-
views are probably people who are already watching us on Fur Affinity and places like that.
Yeah, I think there might be 2 people that don't know us personally.
Uh-huh.
Like, to you 2 people, I love you. I love you for this.
Yes,
And maybe
you are
one day we'll
wonderful.
get more, but for the time being, it's like, this is not something to be terribly proud of yet.
Yeah. I am proud of it, actually.
Yeah.
But only because it isn't complete and total garbage.
Yeah.
Like, it's not bad. Just judging from all the other Let's Play channels that I've watched. And I know this probably sounds like bragging, but it really isn't. It's just saying it's better than I thought it would be.
And really, that's what you should be hoping for.
Yeah, exactly.
This could be so much worse.
Yes.
Watch your back, Cooper. When you least expect it, I'll be there.
She gives
Bye.
this monologue and then fucking crashes into the icy water.
Yep.
Oh, Carmelita, you're so silly.
But yeah, with this community, it's like, because of the weird way it's structured, yeah, we all wear our shame on our sleeves.
Yeah. I mean, people go around cons with friggin' like fetish-based badges and stuff like that. Like they're still safe for work. Like if you showed it to someone, they'd say, "Oh, that's a little weird. That foot looks a little detailed. That mouth looks a little detailed." But it's still
interesting
something you can
outfit
show.
you're wearing.
Yeah, well, there's that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very clear if you're in the community what people are into.
Yeah. Like a quick cursory glance at their FA will tell you immediately.
Yes, look at their gallery or look at their favorites or both.
Yeah, and if you really want to start digging deep, look at who they're watching.
Yeah.
And you'll probably notice a trend.
Yep. Yeah, some people do hide certain things because they just haven't gotten used to it probably in real life.
Yeah.
But
That was my
or other people have alternate accounts, and so like some of them are fetish and some of them are non-fetish.
Yeah.
But
Well, that makes a lot of sense for the artists who like make a living off of commission.
oh yeah,
So it's like,
definitely.
okay, here is what I'm into. For all you people who like my style and want to give me money to draw your thing, here's this account that doesn't have that thing.
Yes, exactly.
You shall pay dearly.
Yeah, there was this I'm not even sure if he's on Fur Affinity. He might be. But there was this guy who did My Little Pony stuff, and he's fucking fantastic. But he separated one of the fetishes from just the rest of his stuff, largely because of that, because he actually is a professional artist, and he gets money and goes to cons and sells his stuff there. And so he didn't really want to combine the two.
Yeah.
Eventually it came out, of course, because his style is very noticeable, very recognizable, but still, I mean, he gave that, what's the word? That courtesy to his audience.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would appreciate that.
Well, there's one artist I'm thinking of. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say names because he came out with it.
Okay.
Gunmouth.
Oh, yeah.
Gunmouth, for the longest time, would do a lot of like really, like it's one of the fetishes that like trigger a lot of people under an alias. But he has such a distinct style. Everyone was like, "Is Gunmouth and Cow Nugget the same guy?" And it's just always like nope face anytime anyone asked him that. And eventually he's like, "Yeah, if you like this, go check out Cow Nugget. If you don't, stick with Gunmouth."
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I think a lot of people appreciate that. But of course, you're still going to get shit just because you're doing something strange and out of the norm. Yeah. But whatever. And then one of our... Well, I don't know if he's a friend of yours. I was going to say mutual friend, but I don't know how well you know him. But another guy has... Like, he just doesn't post his weird stuff online at all. Because he just didn't want to be known for being that guy.
Yeah. Did the panda have a stain on his crotch?
I don't know. It's possible.
You remember the name of the person you mentioned? Because I'm now curious.
Oh, okay. I'll just send it to you.
Yeah.
Although that might actually make a noise, wouldn't it?
No, because we're just recording our voices.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. Oh, okay.
Yep.
I didn't know you didn't. Okay. Anyway.
Skype is beautiful.
Yeah. Let's stop mentioning things off camera that the viewers aren't going to get. Anyway.